Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Omar Pineda with eXp Realty, and we are gonna have to push back this live till 12:30. I'm gonna be on, but my host, Parker Couch, will be on in 30 minutes. So I have prepared a market update to talk about in the meantime. So let's take a look at the past. So these are stats from 2020. And what I did was I took the first quarter of each year for the past 2 years so we can kind of see a side by side and until we fast forward till this year, 2022. So as we can see here in 2020, let's take a look at the median sales price. We were in the high 200s 2 years ago. Another key thing to look at here is sales volume, because as we move on, that's going to be a big number that's changed. So you can just see how much uh, demand has come Austin's way. So here for January 2020, we have 202, and then it went up to 277 and up again to 327. So over 100 million in sales volume just in the first 3 months alone in 2020. Right? Take another look at the average days on market. 63, 67, 57. As we get closer to RR 2022, you'll see how drastically these numbers changed. But again, this was 2020 months of January, February, and March. Another key thing to make a note of is the months of inventory. Okay, so here we have 1.5, 1.4, and 1.5 again. Now, a healthy market is 6 months of housing inventory. This is new construction, mind you, of new construction inventory. So we're not even close to that mark. But when we go to the next year, we'll see how drastically these numbers changed. Okay, let's go to the next screen. Okay, so here we have 2021. Really quick, right off the bat, while it's fresh in your head, you see how drastically the inventory uh, just went down. And this last year, right when the interest rates were super low and money was cheap to borrow. So everyone, if you weren't a first time home buyer, anyone who had some equity in their house and refinanced, that did a cash out, anything like that, you t took it to their advantage so they can buy up maybe a secondary home. And I think that's what we see these numbers reflect. The inventory was just gobbled up last year. Again, let's take a good look at the median sales price. We were looking at the high 200s for 2020. Now we're in the neighborhood of 300 and 400 for last year. Again, we're looking at a comparison between January, February, and March between 2020, 2021, and 2022. Also, a good thing to take a note of is the percentages. So this is comparing, these numbers are being compared to the same time last year. So this is telling us that between March of 2021, right? That's what I'm looking at. So March of 2020, between March of that year and 2021 was 40% increase in the median sales price. That is astronomically quick in just a year time frame because we could see um, the demand was really driving up the cost of these housing appreciations. Another cool thing that I like to look at again is sales volume. We went from 200, so kind of modest start in the beginning of the year, and then just in 3 months to almost $500 million, 533 million. Again, this kind of middle row here are new listings, active listings, and pending sales. Let's take a quick second just to look and compare. This really gives you a good kind of overview of what the market has been doing and we're going to see what the market's currently doing. That way it gives you a good just overall like big picture. I'm a very big picture guy to see like to understand how everything's working and flowing. Again, check out these average days on market. 28, 23, 17. We were looking at this is when it was a seller's market, right? Houses were being gobbled up and buyers were waiving contingencies and appraisals so they can get a faster close. That's how crazy it was, and that's kind of like the recipe for a seller's market. If we go back to 2020, we'll see that 63, 67, 57, almost nearly triple. I would say, yeah, triple the time frame. Now, keep in mind a good chunk of these days on market. I'm not sure if this is including like when it was when the time it sold, when it was put on the market, and the time it took to go through the whole loan process. That's why I'm not sure if that number is indicating that, because I have another kind of little cool chart that we'll see both of those numbers side by side. Okay, let's go to this year. Okay, so this is 2022, January, February, and March time frame. Look how these numbers skyrocketed. Median sales price just jumps right at you. And remember, for 2020, we started in the mid to high 200s. And now we've almost doubled that 2 years later. Again, this is Williamson County. I probably should have mentioned that from the get-go. But let's see here. Again, another thing to note is the sales volume. I feel like in the beginning of the year, we always start off a little bit slow because everyone's kind of getting over the holidays and probably the new school year starting. And then by March, when we get into more of the spring, we see this huge jump in sales volume. Even a huge jump. Look at the new listings. We went from 833 in January all the way to 1344 in March. So in the span of 3 months, it jumped up that much. These are new listings. Also take a note of the months of inventory, 0.03. So 0.03 means that that's less than 1 month of inventory that we have. So less than 1 month. When a healthy market, when there's enough inventory to go around, is at least 6 months. We're not even at a month. We're less than that. But notice we do have a gradual upward trend of 0.4. Okay. Now, this is the most recent housing stats. Where can I get so I'm not in the way? Okay, so this is Williamson County again. And now we're looking at March, April, and May. So this is as recent as we can get when it comes to numbers. Take a look at the median sales price starting from left to right. We were at 490. Then we jumped to 510. And then we kind of came back down to 509. This is the median sales price in Williamson County. Everybody who was on the fence that was considering selling their house certainly did to capitalize if they were on the fence of selling their house to get top dollar. And the numbers reflect this. We went from, look at the active listings. We went from 428 to 849 to 1272 in the span of 3 months, almost doubling every time. Another interesting thing to note is our inventory. Months of inventory. We went from zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.7 to 1.1. We finally broke the 1 month mark. And I speak to new construction builders at least once a week, and I get daily updates from them on their current move-in ready homes. And all signs are pointing towards them finally catching up. Now, they are still dealing with labor shortages and supply chain bottlenecks. They're still dealing with that. But they are pressing forward, and we can see that reflect in these numbers right here. We went from zero point 0.7 in April of this year to 1.1 last month. And the reports I've been reading that there's nothing saying there's nothing forecasted that that's going to slow down anytime soon. Now, another thing to note is that from what I've been seeing, we kind of are in this transitionary period where if you are selling your home, the 20, 40, 50 offers in over one open house weekend is no longer happening. We have transitioned from that with the interest rates going up. So buyers are, there's going to be less buyers because now they've been priced out of what they can afford. So when there's less buyers, there's going to be less competition. So sellers who got away with getting top dollar for doing very little as far as anything to fix up for their home, and buyers were willing to waive all the inspection and the appraisal just to make their offer competitive. Those days are gone, at least for now, because we are transitioning out of that kind of hysteria when it came to being a seller's market, very high in demand housing. Another thing to note is so with this chart, I was able to pull the actual days on market. So the time it took for when a home was listed to when it was actually put in escrow, right? And to the actual time frame of when it closed. That's when your bank and your loan officer is doing all that magic, and that's when the appraisal happens and the inspections happen. So check this out. We are it's it's longer for day. It takes longer for days to close than it does for a house to be sold on the market. I always find these numbers interesting. So we went from 70 in March to 62 in April to 62 again in May. And the days to close, 49, 47, 51. Those that's over a month. That's 30 to 45 days is typical. So we're kind of going a little over that, or pretty close to that. Another thing I really wanted to mention and kind of point out for those wondering, because I know I have this question on my mind, is man, what's driving the cost of housing to go up so dramatically in such a short period of time? And people are flocking to Austin in the masses. And yes, a big part of that are people from California. So I was forwarded this email that kind of helped explain kind of some of the rough numbers on the migration from people from California moving to Austin. And check this out in bold. So this was from Move Buddha. Those nice people sent me this information. So here we go. 18% of Californians who relocated in 2021 moved to Texas. 18% of Californians who relocated in 2021 moved to Texas. 1 in 4 of all inbound moves to Texas came from California. So another good way to look at that is 116 new residents moved to Austin every day in 2021. So if you think about that amount of people moving to Austin, and we just saw how little the housing inventory has been the last few years, that is going to drive up the cost of what little inventory is left. And why we went into this, so that in combination with the low interest rates that the Fed did to kind of help keep the economy going when we were in the pandemic, led to this crazy jump in home prices in Austin. Now that we I predict that we're going to see these home prices level off, where we're not going to people aren't going to get away with these astronomical numbers for a home that isn't really worth that much. But we're not going to see like it just jump off a cliff. We're going to see it just level off a little bit and stabilize. So I firmly believe in a post-pandemic world that remote work is here to stay, and people who live in the higher cost of living states are going to be looking at Austin. You're going to be looking at all the states in the middle of America where the cost of living is a lot cheaper and they can work remotely. And being from California myself, uh, Austin is a very easy place to adapt to if you're coming from a big city. So remote work is here to stay. That's not going to change anytime soon. And on top of that, this is for Austin, for the city of Austin, we're doing some right because we're attracting such big businesses here. Take a look at this. Tesla, Google, Amazon, SpaceX, Apple. They're not moving. Some of them are not all moving. They're just expanding their operations here in Austin. So that is going to bring more people, and that's going to drive the housing prices up for a bit until we can get more inventory. But in terms of real estate, this happens over a, over a long period of time. There's nothing very quick. That's like there's no such thing as a quick turnaround when it comes to real estate. I think in any market. So for those two reasons, remote work and um, big and Austin attracting these big businesses coming to Austin is in I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Is gonna continue to drive the housing market in Austin at a rate that is just, I mean, it's good if you're a home seller, but if you're a home buyer, first time home buyer, it's going to be more difficult for you to, it's going to be a bigger down payment, or there's more money you're going to have to save up so you can get a good rate. But it's all achievable. It's all achievable. Do not let that frighten you because um, half the battle is just having an objective and a goal so you know how to meet there so you can, but you have to know. You have to know. So speaking with any of the lenders that I work with, well, they'll paint you a good roadmap as to how to get there, right? Because you want when the market shifts, you want to be ready. You don't want to be doing your homework then. You want to be ready. Okay, so that kind of concludes my little market update for Williamson County. We took a look at the past couple of years so we could see a side-by-side comparison on what the market was doing. Right? I know I see that all the time. People want to see people, and I love seeing it too because it helps give me a good picture of like the past, right? I mean, these numbers are almost laughable at this point. The mid to high 200s. This is for Williamson County now. Travis County, I'm sure was a lot. These were larger numbers, and it's almost like laughable. Everyone's kind of shooting themselves in the foot because they're like, man, I wish I should have bought more sooner. Like just look at all this equity that if you were a homeowner back in 2019, 2020, before that, that your house is appreciated, nearly doubling in value. Okay, so one last thing I want to say here, looking ahead, and I got this from realtor.com, talking about the current state of the market. So read along with me. Home sellers face more competition, but seller buyers get more options. Homeowners continue to be in an advantageous position, especially those who have owned for longer periods of time and accumulated significant equity in their homes. This is likely to bring out more sellers hoping to capitalize on favorable market conditions. So those are the people that were on the fence. They're probably going to lean and say yes, especially if we see a positive trend in more inventory, because now they don't have to worry about where they're going to move to capitalize on favorable market conditions, which will ultimately mean more competition and a rebalancing of the market, of the housing market, away from the very seller-friendly tilt it has recently had. This will bode particularly well for seller buyers who have been more frustrated with the lack of buying options. Seller buyers are not immune from the challenges all buyers face, such as higher home prices and mortgage rates. But home equity insulates them from some of the impact, particularly those who have lived in their homes for a longer period. With more equity to leverage in a home purchase, seller buyers can make a larger down payment, minimizing the amount they borrow and take some of the sting out of higher mortgage rates. So what that's simply saying is if you have the money, if you and homeowners who've had their homes for quite some time, who have built up equity, they can use that money to buy down their interest rates. So interest rates right now are tracking like I think 6% and more. But if you can use money to help buy down that rate so you can get a lower interest rate, like in the low fives. But and that's a strategy, that's a tactic you can use. So homeowners, if you have built up equity and you're looking to sell, you can and you could use some of that equity to buy down your interest rates. Okay. So this year, the return of seasonal trends and timing of mortgage rate increases are reinforcing each other, and I expect the market will cool off notably as we move toward the end of the year. This means that homeowners contemplating a sale should consider acting sooner rather than later. Another key takeaway is in a transitioning market is that potential sellers need to be plugged into the latest market information and not let their expectations be swayed by the past. So I've been hearing this a lot from my realtor friends because the normal was sellers getting what they asked for. That's no longer happening. They're going to have to meet more in the middle and have more of a compromising attitude and actually set the right expectations because your house more than likely will stay on the market longer if it's not priced accordingly or if it doesn't meet key things that buyers are looking for. And if you work with me, a rule of thumb I like to use and how I see things is that say you list your home for 700,000 in this market today. If we get within a 3% margin of that listing price, I would consider that a win and realistic in what in what we're dealing with today. Now, if you have the time to let your home sit longer because you really want to get that price that you want for your home, then we would take that into consideration, right? But most sellers I see are looking for a quick and easy home selling process. Okay, so let's finish this off. While I'm kind of right here midway into the paragraph, while recent sellers have indeed benefited from competitive market conditions, often selling quickly to buyers willing to waive contingencies and even pay more than asking price, even in this hotly competitive market, some sellers, roughly 1 in 5, experience offers falling through and even a lack of buyers at the preferred price point. In fact, while the share of sellers having to reduce their asking price to find a buyer remains lower than pre-pandemic, it rose from 1 year ago in March, April, and May. So we kind of saw that with the side-by-sides numbers when we were talking about Williamson County and the median sales price from year to year. So I have a few more minutes here till 12:30. I would love to play for you this video of this challenge that's coming up that my mentor and business coach, Kristen Mayshore, is putting on for next month, for the month of July. Here's a promo video that we collaborated on, and I'm giving you guys an exclusive sneak peek because I'm really supposed to be posting it till on July 1st. But we have some time to kill, and I already have it ready, so let's check it out together. Here we go. Do you find yourself stuck and not able to get enough done? Is your productivity low? I know I've totally felt that way in the past too, until I got some help. Well, what if you had a way to have someone help hold you accountable and show you what and how to truly live the life you want? Right now, there is a lot of negativity going on in the world. Every day on the news, all they talk about is inflation causing groceries and gas prices to skyrocket, a recession right around the corner, the war, the list goes on. We need help to keep our mindset straight so we can be more accountable and productive so we can have the life we truly want. One thing I've come to learn is you are the average of the 5 people who you hang around with. That's why I hired a coach who made it through some very difficult times in her life and built the life of her dreams. She lives a life of abundance in health, wealth, and happiness. That's why I am thrilled to be part of a free upcoming challenge. It's called the Limitless Prosperity Challenge. Don't take my word for it. I'd like to introduce you to Krista Mayshore, my mentor and coach, and why she's offering such an incredible virtual event. Take it away, Krista.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, I'm hosting a free Facebook challenge and mastermind that's going to reveal my millionaire mentality and help you unlock better wealth, better success, and creating lasting happiness in your life. Even right now, with all the negativity going on, we can help. I'd love for you to join me and my associate in our Limitless Prosperity Challenge. One thing I've learned is that keeping your mindset protected is the key to wealth, to success, and to happiness. Mindset is more important than skill set. I've personally invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into my own personal development, and it's personally helped me grow from being a foster kid living in group homes and juvenile hall who ended up in a very bad relationship as a single mom who ended up with drained bank accounts to where I am today. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur who started out in a local real estate business, launched multi-million-dollar companies, and has spoken in front of thousands of people on stages. I've written 4 best-selling books. But listen, who cares about me? This is about you. But I cannot reiterate enough that I am no one special. If I can do all of this, each and every one of you watching this right now can absolutely live the same life that you dream of too, by safeguarding your future, by taking full control of your mindset and who you surround yourself with. You just need your GPS. You need goals, plan, and strategies, but you also need your gas, guidance, accountability, and support to put it all together. That's what we're going to help you with during this challenge. The accountability, the support to get you to find the success and the wealth that you want. I'm so excited to be partnering with like-minded people around the country to launch this free Limitless Prosperity Challenge. I have tons of activities to help you not only survive during what's going on right now, but to thrive. We're going to help change the negativity and infuse positive energy into our life and into our communities. So sign up, it's free. It's about 45 minutes a day for 30 days long. You don't have to attend everything. You can join anytime. So come when you can, and we're going to support you with our whole network to hold you accountable so you get the results that you deserve. I cannot wait. I'm super excited, and I hope that you are too.
I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited. I've already signed up to be a team leader for you, Krista, and I can't wait to introduce everyone watching this right now to you during the challenge. A quote I heard the other day that really inspired me went like this: "Yesterday, I was clever and I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise, so I'm changing myself. Let's create abundance and wealth so that we can thrive together." Please, I'd love to share this incredible experience with you so you can see what a difference the right community, the right mindset can make in your life. Just sign up below and you'll have free access to the Limitless Prosperity Challenge, and I'll be in the Facebook group waiting to see you there too. Thanks so much. Hey guys. Hey Parker, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, I can. Omar, can you hear me?
Oh yes, we are cooking with gas. Okay guys, so we are back. I have here Parker Couch with Homestar Financial, and we're going to be talking about the Homestar Cash Advantage program. Is that right, Parker?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. So let's get into it because we have a lot to cover. And at the end, we're going to go over a few scenarios I kind of came up with and get Parker's kind of 2 cents on it because I feel like this program can be the solution to a lot of pain points that home sellers are facing right now. So, a key takeaway here. So, if nothing else, what we're trying to teach and instruct here today is just the program, the Homestar Cash Advantage program, and how it benefits both the home buyer and home seller. Hey Parker, do you have your thing to share?
I do. Yep, I'm ready to go.
Okay, so Parker has this awesome presentation for us to kind of go over the program and how it's focused more towards the home seller. Okay, so go ahead and share your screen, Parker, when you're ready.
All right. Let's see if the technology gods are in my favor. All right. Drum roll, please. Oh, let's see. It's giving me an error. Give me 1 second. Um, Omar, I know that. Let's see if this will work right here. There we go. Perfect. All right. And instead of doing a PowerPoint, I'm actually going to go through the handout that's available for folks once we are done. So let me share my screen.
Okay.
And All right, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, just give me 1 second. Okay,
Okay,
I can see you. I can see your screen. Okay, there we go. Take it away. We're good.
perfect. Okay, I can't believe it actually worked. All right, so the Homestar Cash Advantage program, and it does, you're exactly right, Omar, it benefits buyers and sellers. So 30,000 foot view, let's talk about what it is, what it isn't, and how it benefits both. All right. So, what is the Cash Advantage program? Well, one, and I start with this. Yes, this is me and my wife, my two girls, and our godson, Carlos, who's in the Air Force. But I start with this because the Homestar Cash Advantage program, whenever you hear cash and cash offers, you oftentimes think of investors, aka people who aren't normal families, normal folks trying to buy a home. And that's something that we've really lost the last 2.5 years is you've had so many cash buyers, and so many of those cash buyers are investors who are never have no intention of ever actually living in the home. And so the Cash Advantage program is a partnership between my company, Homestar, and Ribbon, Ribbon. And the thought behind it is what can we do as a lender, as a mortgage company, to help normal families get into normal homes, which sounds like such a baseline simple goal. And it was a baseline simple goal before COVID and before the pandemic hit and really kind of eradicated our supply and made the housing market go crazy. So let's talk about why sellers love to accept ribbon offers. A lot of what we're going to do, Omar, is kind of go through the nuts and bolts from a buyer's perspective. And so I thought it makes sense to kind of start with the seller perspective. So, why do sellers love to accept ribbon offers? A couple of things here, and I want to really hone in on the things to our right and then we'll go to the things to our left. One, compete with cash. As a seller, if you accept a Homestar Cash Advantage program buyer who is backed by Ribbon, you are essentially accepting a cash offer. Contingencies are removed, financing contingency and appraisal contingency. Those contingencies are removed, which is usually the benefit of cash. Seller peace of mind. What I mean is that, part of our program is we do require a 7-day inspection period, but once that 7-day inspection period is done, it is a guaranteed sale. The buyer literally could walk away, and if as long as you're past that 7-day inspection period, you're still going to sell your home and you're still going to get your money come closing day. And last but not least, from the realtor's perspective, but also thinking from if you're selling a home, you're almost certainly not doing it yourself. It's guaranteed commission. There are so many things that can go wrong when it comes to borrowing money and getting a loan. And so that's the reason why cash became king, is because cash is the cleanest, it's the simplest, there's not much red tape, and there are things that can go wrong when someone's getting financing and trying to pay for a house with a loan. And so this idea of a guaranteed sale, guaranteed commission, contingencies removed, I think that that's pretty powerful. Now, when I said it's essentially a cash offer, here's the best way to kind of wrap your mind around it. Is the best way to wrap your mind around? Actually, I'm not going to go there yet. The best way to wrap your mind around it is you are making an all cash offer, but you're closing with a regular loan. This sounds a lot weirder than it actually is. So, Omar, let me give you an example. Let's say that you've got $2 million in your money market account, right? You got 2 million bucks, and that $2 million in money market account, it's everything. It's an investment. It's your rainy day fund. Well, if you go to Austin and you want to buy a home, are you going to make you, Omar, with the $2 million in the bank? And Omar and I, we're doing just fine, but we do not have $2 million in our bank. I'll tell you that right now. But Omar,
Yep.
this Omar, $2 million in the bank. If you're going to write an offer for a home, are you going to write a cash offer?
All
If
day.
you get all day, every day, right?
That's
Now,
right.
here's what happens though. Just because you're making an all cash offer and you've got the proof of funds to show you have the cash, does that mean that you actually want to burn that money? Let's say you're trying to buy an $800,000 home. Like, if you could have your druthers, do you want to burn that much of your cash?
No.
Right. So what do? Is you make a cash offer, you show that you have the cash, but when you show up to the closing table, you're not burning any of your cash, you're actually bringing a loan. Now, this happens all the time because at the end of the day, if you can't get a loan, Omar, you still have the cash to, you're like, you know what, this sucks, but at least I have the cash to buy the house. This happens all the time with especially kind of your wealthier, more elite clientele. They've got the cash, they make cash offers, but at the end of the day, they're actually not burning their own cash. They are getting a loan and they're beating that cash to the closing table. Okay, so before I go to the next slide, Omar, my co-presenter, you and I have talked through this a ton of times. Um, does that resonate with you? Like, have you seen that on the market? Is that something that only sounds weird because we're saying ribbon or cash advantage program, when in reality, it's like super commonplace?
The more experienced, so not first time home buyer or first time home seller, understand how to leverage debt and know that if you have that kind of cash reserve, it's better to keep that and use that to borrow against so you can, play the game of real estate. But for our first time home buyers, you are really getting that kind of advantage with this program because you have the biggest thing here is having the proof of funds, right? And
That's right.
this is what
That's right.
Ribbon is guaranteeing. They're showing the seller they have the proof of funds to back you as the buyer so you can present an all cash offer. And that's very powerful when it comes to the whole negotiation part of buying a house because it's going to make it you're going to see more attractive, and at the end of the day, that's just to present the offer. You still can close with a loan. And that's where
Yeah.
poker comes in.
That's exactly right. So, and I want to say, Omar, this is old habits die hard. This is no longer 2.4%, it's 2% in Texas. So just kind of keep that in your brain. I'll make sure I correct this handout so that when people get it, they've got the 2%. But this is what this is. There are really three products that we've partnered with Ribbon on. But these are the two, Ribbon Boost and Ribbon Reserve, that we're going to focus on. They have a rescue product. This is not really the webinar time for it. Usually we see first-time home buyers use Ribbon Boost, and usually we see current homeowners doing the Ribbon Reserve. You're probably asking what this percentage is. Don't worry, we're going to go over that in just a second. All right, so let's talk about how do you convert your offer to cash. It is so simple, and Omar's exactly right. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're pre-approved for a loan using Homestar, of course, then what you get to do is you get to make an all-cash offer with no contingencies, but even though you're making a cash offer, you're showing up at the closing table with a regular loan. So how does that work? One, let's get you access to cash. Ribbon's got a $250 million in their bank account, $250 million in their bank account. They've got the proof of funds. So what you do is you get pre-approved with me, and then I'm going to upload your pre-approval. Now, from the seller's perspective, if you get an offer from one of the Homestar Cash Advantage powered by Ribbon borrowers, if you get an offer or a Ribbon offer, know that it's as good as cash, and know that it's going to be a guaranteed sale with no appraisal contingency, no financing contingency once you get past the 7-day inspection. But from the buyer's perspective, how do we get access to cash? You get pre-approved. Once you get pre-approved, you upload it. You then get your buying power. So if you're pre-approved for $350,000, guess what? You got access to $350,000 in cash. So you can make a cash offer up to $350,000 or up to whatever your pre-approved amount is. Then Omar is going to go in, or me, and he's going to say, hey, I heard you really like this property at 1111 Austin Drive. Let's go ahead and put it in the Ribbon portal and see what Ribbon evaluates it as. And that's where Ribbon will give a value to the house. Let's say that's listed for $291,900. Well, Ribbon will probably come back and say, hey, you can offer up to $302,000. Now, think about how competitive that is. You're offering more than 10K over list. Here's the best part, which we'll get to even more in just a second, is let's say that you offer 302, and let's say that the appraisal, because remember, you're trying to get a loan, you don't want Ribbon to have to use their cash. Let's say that your appraisal comes in below this. Let's say that appraisal comes in at 291. Well, if you're under contract for 302 and the appraisal comes in at 291.9, oh my gosh, like you've waived the appraisal contingency on your offer. So what are you going to do? Well, that's the beauty of partnering with Ribbon. If the appraisal comes in below your contract price, Ribbon will cover that appraisal gap. All right, I'm going to say that again. In this scenario, we got a house listed for 291.9. The max Ribbon value Ribbon gives us is 302. We offer 302. The house appraises for 291. Guess who's not coming out of pocket? You're not coming out of pocket. It's going to be Ribbon. They're going to cover that gap. So once we get that free valuation, Omar, best realtor in town, is going to write that offer. Once he writes the offer, he's going to get a Ribbon addendum. That addendum essentially says you reserve the right to get financing and show up to the closing table with the loan, proof of funds, cover letter, and then there's the Ribbon fee. Now, with the Ribbon fee, this is something that I think people get really tripped up on. Is with the Ribbon fee, all that fee really is you are in Texas, it's 2%. You can see the 2% right here. There's something called earnest money. And Omar, if you had to define what earnest money is, what's the closest like real world analog to earnest money?
Well, I'm going to quote you because I like the way you put it. That it's your skin in the game, right? It's to show the seller that you are serious, you are a serious buyer, and that ultimately goes towards your closing costs, right? It goes to the purchase of the home. So it's not like you put it down and then you lose it, but it's going towards the closing. So it's just your skin in the game to show that the buyer yourself you're serious. So when they take it off the market, they're actually, you're a viable option to getting the home sold. So, and I think typically it's usually 1% of the value of the house.
Yep, that's great. And another way that I like to think of it, Omar, is your hair looks right and tight, like I like to think mine looks like. And if you want to have a good haircut, especially how we wear it, you got to go to a good barber. And so
Mm.
my barber, I have to actually pay for my haircuts ahead of time. And if I cancel within 24 hours of my appointment, he gets to keep the money. That being said, if I show up for my haircut's already paid. Right? So it's earnest money is exactly what you said. It's that upfront. You're just kind of putting some upfront money into it. So with this, and this is where the fee comes in, is your earnest money. Your earnest money is going to be 2% of the sales price. So if you are buying a $100,000 house, that means $2,000 you need to put up front. Here's the beauty though. Come closing day, if you see where my mouse is right here, come closing day. If you show up with a Homestar loan, which you will, then all that earnest money, that 2% of the sales price, it just gets credited right back to you. Now, Ribbon is going to charge 1% of the sales price at closing, even though you're not using their money, you're using a Homestar loan. But here's the beauty of our partnership is for most, not all, and I say not all because I've had borrowers who've had really low credit scores, and so the rate's more expensive, and we haven't been able to cover the entire 1%. But for most of my borrowers, we are able to actually cover that entire 1%. So let me repeat what I just said. 2% of the sales price for your earnest money. You show up to closing with a Homestar loan. All that earnest money goes towards your closing costs and down payment. Ribbon charges you 1% of the sales price. Homestar gives you 1% of the sales price as a lender credit. So it offsets that Ribbon cost, which means you were able to make an all cash offer, but close with a Homestar loan, and it cost you $0. In the event though, Omar, I know that you strike me as somebody on this 4th of July weekends going to maybe get on a ski-doo or a jet ski and go tear up Lake Travis. Let's just say that you decide to buy like 18 jet skis right before closing, and it blows up
Nice.
your financing to where your loan officer calls and says, Omar, I know we close in 3 days, but you bought 18 jet skis, man. Your debt to income ratio is not working. Well, in a normal transaction, and this is why it's so great for the seller, in a normal transaction, deal's done. Yeah, you get a little you get to keep the earnest money, but you got to put that house back on the market. With this though, with Ribbon, if you show up to closing and you don't have a loan, well, Ribbon steps in, they buy the house. You then have 180 days to rent the house back from Ribbon. You have 180 days to buy it back from Ribbon at the original contract price. But for the seller, you don't have to be part of all that drama. You got your money. Because whether it's the borrower showing up with a Homestar loan or Ribbon showing up with their cash, you're going to get your commission if you're the listing agent. You're going to get your home sold if you are the seller. And that's where that 2% earnest money, that upfront skin in the game, that's where it becomes a fee, Omar, because if you get all those jet skis and you show up to closing and you don't have a loan, and if Ribbon has to step in and actually buy it with cash, they're going to keep that 2% of the sales price earnest money because now they have to cover their closing costs because now
Mhm.
they're having to buy it, not you. Um, I'm actually going to skip this slide. This kind of breaks down everything that we just went through, and it also has that 2.4%. My apologies, I don't know where my brain was. But this is really important. Is homes that they buy. This has an asterisk because in some markets that will go up to $1 million. Austin is one of those markets. You can go all the way up to $1 million. Um, it's got to be fewer than 4 acres of land. It has to be built after 1975, or it needs to be fully renovated, and it needs to be in some type of major metropolitan market. They don't buy foreclosures, they do not buy mobile manufactured homes, and they do not buy short sales. They do buy condos and townhomes. So that's another really cool thing because Austin, I know condos and townhomes are really big here. So that's important. And then benefits to your buyers. You're 4 times more likely to win if you upgrade your offer to cash. The appraisal protect your offer, giving you a competitive edge. Differentiate your offer by providing the seller a guaranteed close, and secure your own financing on closing and take advantage of just that 1% boost fee, which is going to be for almost everybody covered by Homestar. And about my company, shameless plug, we are one of the top mortgage purchase lenders in the entire country. We've been the #1 purchase lender in Georgia for the last 3 years. Just opened up a branch here in Texas. And so, even though we are very, very new to Texas, we are very established and reputable in the Atlanta, Georgia market, and really all of the Southeast. And we could not be more excited to be here in Texas, partnering with killer realtors like Omar, and bringing really innovative products like the Homestar Cash Advantage powered by Ribbon. So yeah, Omar, hopefully that was helpful. Let me try to not share my screen anymore. All right, there we go.
No, and one thing I really want to drive home from what you said was the guarantee. There's very few guarantees in life other than death and taxes, right?
That's
And
right.
what Homestar is proposing to home sellers is a guarantee on the sale of your home. That is that took me a few times to wrap my head around because it's like it sounds too good to be true. Where's the catch? Is this a bait and switch? But rest assured, folks, I have gone over this program with Parker multiple times, and it really takes that much time for it to sink in. And that's why we do these webinars because repetition is a form of mastery, and that's you're going to need to rewatch this or rewatch certain parts of it so you can really let it sink in this program and like the benefits it has to offer. And at the end of the day, if you still don't get it, Parker and I are just a phone call and email away, so we can follow up with you. We can do this one-on-one, virtually or in person, however you prefer. Okay, so some quick scenarios of what I've been noticing
Awesome.
in the market with seller clients. So scenario number
Okay.
one, a common client pain point is prepping a house for sale while still living there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How I want to hear your kind of take on how this program would help kind of be the solution to this pain point that from what you've noticed.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up this scenario. So before I dive deeply into that scenario, Omar, let me ask you this. You've got a house in Cedar Park, all
Yeah.
right? Let's say that house is 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, single story, about 2,400 square feet, and you're listing it for 675, 700. Let's say you're listing it for 700,000. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Um, that being said, it is owner occupied. You've got a family, you got two parents, you've got three kids, you got a dog, just a normal family with all their stuff, and they want to sell their house and they want to show their house before they actually move out. All right. So you listed at 700,000. Now I want you to take, Omar, that exact same house, but it's vacant. You've got a blank canvas to where you and your team can professionally stage it. You and your team can have time to take the photos. You and your team do not have to work around the schedule of the owners to schedule showings. You've got a blank canvas. All right. So I've already told you 700,000 with owners occupying it. Same property, blank canvas, owners are out. How much do you think you would list that property with that if it was a blank canvas with the owners out? And you got to do all that fancy stuff that I outlined.
Well, let's say that 700,000 mark is like top dollar. The sellers want top dollar for the home. And in order to kind of get that price point and to attract those buyers, the first thing any realtor is going to tell you is that we need to declutter and do a really deep clean first. And that's what sellers hate to do because that's energy and time out of their day on top of everything else going on. So with
Right.
this program, you could do that. I mean, you're not even a part of it because you're already out of the house, right? So
Right. So yeah. That's exactly that's exactly my thing. Right. Is if do you think you would be able to, like, which of those scenarios has a greater chance of you getting at or above list, right? Of course, it's scenario two. So
yeah,
let's talk about the Homestar Cash Advantage program for this. What you can do is I've got these homeowners that are living in this house, like Omar is saying, and they really want to move, but they need the money from the house that they still live in, right? The net sale proceeds. So what I would do is I would pre-approve them. I would 100% pre-approve them contingent upon them selling their current home. I then take that pre-approval. I'm letting Ribbon know, hey, they're selling their current home. This is how much they're pre-approved for as long as they sell their current home. Ribbon then gives them access to Ribbon Cash. Ribbon will then go out and buy a house, all cash, close in 14 days, will buy a house for that family, these borrowers. All right. They then get to move into their new home. They are renting it back from Ribbon. They've got 6 months to buy it back from Ribbon at the original sales contract. But the beauty of it is they're in their new home. They were probably able to get their new home for a lot cheaper because all cash closed in 14 days. So probably closer to list. You then have a blank canvas, Omar, where you can go in, you can stage it, you can photograph it, you can have unlimited showings, you can really drive up that price and get top dollar yield. And so with this Homestar Cash Advantage program powered by Ribbon, you do have the option, if you're already a homeowner, go ahead and let Ribbon, go ahead and let them buy the house that you want to move into. They'll pay all cash, close in 14 days. Go ahead and get your crap out of your, because I've got two kids, right? Like I got a lot of crap in my house. So get your crap out of your house, go to your new home, and then let Omar and his team get you top dollar on that listing. How much does this cost? Well, do you remember that 2% earnest money,
yeah.
right? You do have to pay that. So Ribbon is going to take 2% of the sales price of the new home that you're buying. That being said, once you sell your old home and get those net sale proceeds, and if you use a Homestar loan, right, you're going to get that 1% lender credit when you buy it back from Ribbon. Okay. So in all reality, to the cost of having Ribbon buy this new home, when it was all said and done, was 1% of the sales price. And if you really look kind of underneath the hood of that number, you really weren't even paying that 1% because I guarantee you were able to sell your house for a lot more than you would have if you were living in it. I also guarantee you that you were able to save a lot of money on the new house that Ribbon bought for you by offering all cash and closing in 14 days. So that's what I really want to push people's mindset is, yes, you're paying Ribbon 2% of the sales price to buy your new home. And that seems like a lot, but you have to think about what you're gaining. You're selling your old house for more, right? You're getting your new house closer to list and probably cheaper, right? And three, if you use Homestar, which you should, me and my team are really good at what we do. If you're using Omar, which you should, you and his team are really good at what they do, then you're actually not even paying that 2%. It gets cut in half because of that 1% credit. So, yeah, I just think that this is a program that a lot of people don't even want to entertain, Omar, because it's got that 2% fee. But if they understand what that fee is getting them, it's really paying for itself. If not paying for itself, it might actually be paying for itself and making you some money on top of it. I'll give one last example on that. Had somebody listed their house. They were moving from Georgia to San Antonio. I did their loan. They list their house in Georgia, had a couple of offers. All were like a little bit above list. They were kind of getting discouraged. They decided to be like, we got to get to Texas. So they did this program, and the realtor back in Georgia, the realtor was able to list their house in Georgia, but she was able to stage it. She was able to professionally photograph it. She was able to repaint the walls. She was able to have unlimited showings. That house sold. Remember, it already gets that house sold for 50K over list.
Wow.
50K. And the 2% fee was only like $8,000. So my borrower netted 42 grand by paying that 2%, fee. So that's why I just really want to push people's thinking is it is a fee, but it's you have to you have to invest money up front, oftentimes in life, in order. Like what is it? You gotta spend money to make money, right? And that's the case with this program.
Absolutely. And one thing I kind of want to point out too, like I know we're kind of focused on home sellers, but if we have any realtors watching, this is how beautiful is that scenario where you have a client and you don't have to coordinate anything with them because they're pretty much out of the house and you could do your thing peacefully and at your pace so you can come out like a superstar and get top dollar for their home and work with Parker and Homestar to do that. I think that's like a win-win for everybody, the realtor, the home seller, and you as the mortgage lender. So that's why
Yep,
this program is simply incredible. Okay, I got one or two more for you. Uh,
perfect.
let's go to the next one. Okay, another pain points. We kind of touched on this a little earlier, dealing with home showings, buyers coming in and out, right? So you do open house so you can get a lot of foot traffic so people can see the house. Let's say it's beautifully staged, it's turnkey ready, but you're still living there, right? So you have to deal with all the, well, one, open house weekend, and if any buyer agents are coming with their clients to come see it whenever throughout the week. And I know that's annoying. That's super annoying. In this scenario, with this program, again, since Ribbon is giving you the funds to move to your next home, leaving your current home empty, you don't have to deal with none of that. That's so beautiful to me, right?
No, no, absolutely. And I think with that scenario, something that I think about is we've talked a lot about home buyers who need to sell their home to buy their new home. Well, let's just
Hmm.
talk about just sellers, right? Whether you're getting a new home or not, like you're trying to sell your home. And let's talk about listing agents. Your job is to get top dollar and protect your client's best interest for that home that you're trying to sell. And so if you're a listing agent, I would highly, and you're finding it frustrating because you're not getting the offers that you feel like that property deserves because the sellers are still living in the house, like give me a call, and let's talk about getting the sellers pre-approved with Ribbon so that you can go ahead and have the sellers get out of your listing and get into their new home so that you can get top dollar for it. So it is, I couldn't agree more, Omar, with what you said. Um, that's sales 101 is it's something called the decision window, and decision windows can happen multiple times in the mind of a consumer, but at the end of the day you really have about 2.5 to 3 seconds to where the human brain is like, am I going to make this decision? Am I going to push the button? Am I going to sign the page? And if you have somebody requesting a showing for a house that's maybe a little bit out of their price range, but they really, really like it, and then all of a sudden they request that showing, and then they get a text back. It's like, hey, this is so and so. Got your request for a 3 o'clock tour. Actually, the sellers can't make that work. Can you please make tomorrow morning work, maybe? Well, then oftentimes you were excited. You were about to go see this house. You were maybe even going to make an offer, but because there was the logistics of like the current homeowners blocking your showing, what usually happens? That decision window closes, you come to your better senses and you're like, I can't afford that house. What am I thinking? And then you cancel the showing. So I cannot emphasize, and I know I'm preaching what you've always preached to me, Omar, is if you want to get top dollar for your house, if you are selling a home, you have to give your realtor and potential buyers unlimited access and flexibility. Doesn't mean you can't sell it if you don't do that, but if you really want top dollar, you've got to give unlimited access and unlimited flexibility. Otherwise, you will absolutely miss out on strong buyers who may have made an offer otherwise.
Well said. Okay, I got one more scenario and then we'll wrap this up.
Awesome.
Dealing with buyers or contract contingencies. So I feel like we already kind of covered this during the presentation, right? When
Yep.
with the ribbon program, you pretty much virtually waive all your contingencies, right? So that making your offer look more attractive, and more than ever, it makes the offer and the whole process for all parties concerned, buyer, seller, realtor, uh, mortgage lender, an easy and smooth process. And at the end of the day, I think that's what everybody wants, right? They want to
Yeah.
have a simple solution, an easy process workflow so they can either sell their home, buy their next home, and this program. And if you use Parker and I as a team, can get you there. We'll get you to the finish line, and you'll be surprised, probably even more shocked and surprised that how easy this went. So,
Yeah, I agree completely, Omar.
uh,
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me on, and I'm really excited for us to work with some folks. I think we're going to change some lives. It'll be great.
yes, guys. So we hope you enjoyed this webinar. Park and I are going to keep doing more of these. We're going to try to do it at least once a month. Every month we're going to rotate between kind of our focus between either the home buyer or the home seller, so we can keep pushing this education, keep showing you guys like how this program works, and as long as you guys are willing to tune in, we'll keep showing up. Parker, thank you for your time, and it's 4th of July weekend, so have an awesome time for your family. I know your mom just came in, and I can't wait to the next one.
Absolutely. And Omar, it's Fourth of July weekend. I know you're a veteran. Thank you so much for your service. I know that's a big part of the Fourth of July weekend. So I hope you have a good weekend as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Parker. Bye, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Omar.